If you had told me a month ago that I'd be leaving Danny, my steady, reliable boyfriend of 3 years, for a stranger I met online, I would have laughed in your face. I was never the type to take risks or make impulsive decisions. But somehow, that's exactly what I did. It all started innocently enough. I was bored, scrolling through my phone one night while Danny was sitting next to me, completely engrossed in yet another game on his Xbox. We had settled into a routine, a predictable rhythm that felt comfortable, but stale. I knew I should be grateful. Danny was a good guy, kind, funny, dependable. The type of guy everyone tells you is a keeper. But lately, I'd been feeling this itch, this restlessness I couldn't shake. I wanted more excitement, more passion, more something. And that's when I found the app. I had downloaded it months ago out of curiosity, but never actually used it. It was one of those anonymous chat platforms where you could talk to strangers from anywhere in the world. I figured, what's the harm? I wasn't planning to meet anyone or do anything crazy. I just wanted to see what was out there. That's when I met him. He went by Jayce, and his profile picture was just a silhouette against a sunset, the kind of vague, mysterious image that made you want to know more. I sent him a message, not expecting much, but within seconds, he replied. Our conversation flowed effortlessly. Jayce had this way of talking that made everything feel intense, like every word he typed was laced with meaning. He asked me questions no one had ever bothered to ask before, about my dreams, my fears, the things I never admitted even to myself. For the first time in forever, I felt truly seen, like someone was actually interested in me, not just the version of myself I showed to the world. We talked every night after that. I'd wait until Danny was asleep or out of the room, and I'd sneak onto my phone, my heart pounding with anticipation. With Jayce, there was no awkward small talk, no pretenses. He was raw and real, and I felt like I could be too. I found myself telling him things I'd never told anyone, about how trapped I felt in my own life, how I wished I could just run away and start over somewhere new. He understood me in a way Danny never had. Jayce made me feel alive, electric. Our conversations were filled with laughter and flirtation, and soon, they turned into something more. He'd send me songs he said reminded him of me, talk about the places we'd go if we ever met. I knew it was crazy. I'd never seen his face, never even heard his voice, but I felt this magnetic pull toward him, like I was falling and couldn't stop myself. After 2 weeks, he said it, Tracy, what if you just left? What if you walked away from it all and came to see me? It was a reckless idea, the kind of thing you see in movies, not real life. But something about it thrilled me, made me feel like I was on the edge of a cliff, ready to jump. For the first time in my life, I wanted to take that leap. I wanted to know what it felt like to do something wild, something I couldn't predict or control. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. Next to me, Danny was snoring softly, his hand resting on my waist. I felt a pang of guilt. He didn't deserve this. He didn't deserve any of it. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing out on something bigger, something more. The next morning, I made up my mind. I told Danny I needed to talk to him. I watched his face go from calm to worried as I explained that I wasn't happy, that I needed to find myself, that I needed something more. He tried to reason with me, tried to understand, but how could he? How could I explain that I was leaving him for someone I'd never even met? I don't understand, Tracy, he said, his voice breaking. What did I do wrong? He hadn't done anything wrong. That was the worst part. He was everything I should have wanted, everything I thought I needed. But there was a fire inside me now, a restlessness that Danny couldn't soothe, a thirst he couldn't quench. It's not you, I said, my voice barely a whisper. It's me. I need to do this. And so, I packed a bag, threw in some clothes, my passport, and a few essentials. I booked a ticket, my fingers shaking as I hit confirm. A one-way flight to a city I'd never been to meet a man I'd only known through a screen. When I got to the airport, my heart was pounding so hard I thought it might burst out of my chest. I kept waiting for that moment of panic, that feeling that I'd made a mistake, but it never came. Instead, I felt free. I boarded the plane, found my seat, and closed my eyes, trying to calm my racing thoughts. I kept thinking about what Jayce had said the night before. Sometimes you have to leap, Tracy. Sometimes, you have to trust that the net will catch you. I wasn't sure if there was a net, or if I was about to crash into the ground, but for the first time in my life, I was willing to find out. When the plane landed, I took a deep breath and stepped off, my heart in my throat. I had no idea what Jayce looked like, no idea who I was looking for. But then I saw him, standing by the exit with a sign that had my name on it. He was nothing like I'd imagined, taller, older, with piercing blue eyes and a crooked smile. But as soon as our eyes met, I felt that same magnetic pull, that same electricity that had drawn me to him in the first place. "Jayce?" I asked, my voice trembling. He grinned. "Tracy," he said, stepping closer, "I'm so glad you came." I took a deep breath, feeling the thrill of the unknown wash over me. I didn't know what was going to happen next, didn't know if I was making the biggest mistake of my life, but for the first time in a long time, I felt alive. Maybe it would all go wrong. Maybe it would crash and burn. But I didn't care. I had taken the leap, and now, I was ready to see where it would take me. And then, it all became a nightmare. Leaving Danny was the biggest mistake of my life. Jayce was a player and never stayed at home. He left me in 2 weeks for another girl he met online, but it was late. I had chosen my part, and I couldn't go back.